What do you get if you want a hot hatch that's premium and cute? In fact, it's really hot. And it's German. And it's not that brand, it's not that GTI. It's a BMW X2 of all things. It's an SUV. Yes, this SUV is a hot hatch. Let's face it, this X2 is sexy AF. At the heart of this BMW X2 M30i lies a powerful version of their renowned B48 engine. It's the first high-performance four-cylinder engine since the iconic E30 M3's S14 power unit. The turbocharged four-cylinder puts out 225 kilowatts and it accelerates to 100 in just 4.9 seconds. It's got an 8-speed sports automatic transmission. There's some in the range that have a 7-speed DCT, so dual clutch transmission, and the diesel also has an 8-speed, but the 8-speed in this is just brilliant. It's silky smooth. This hotted up N version isn't to be confused with an actual M. This is just kind of a warmed over version. To that end, it's got a few M embellishments. Apart from the BMW roundel and cool BMW grille, it's got a bespoke intake and vents, driving lights, and these sensational LED headlights. Not only are the headlights LED, but the tail lights are too. There's bespoke side mirror cladding, and this smart entry. With the key in my pocket, I can touch the little ridge and the car locks. Putting my hand inside unlocks it. It's also got a smart kick to open tailgate. You just kick to open and close. There's also a button just under the back of the door. In the back there is tons of room and it's a really clever floor. Normally this floor is your lot, but not in this BMW. Just lift this handle and the top floor folds back and it gives you a whole bunch of more space underneath. However, tilt it right back and you've got an extra 30 or 40 litres. There's also an extra power point and some cargo nets. Leave the luggage cover in place for a little bit of added noise reduction. The back seats are surprisingly spacious. With the seat set for me, there's enough room for my feet right under the back of that front seat, and my knees are about 2 or 3 centimetres away. There's also some vents in the back and a couple of USB chargers. The back sporty seats are a mix of Alcantara and sports fabric and have a lovely blue stitch detail. The front seats are also a pretty comfortable place to be. Of course, there's the full glass sunroof. Although instruments are electronic, this isn't a full LCD dash. It's conventional instruments and I think they've missed a trick. This would have looked really great with proper LCD instruments. There's paddles for the gear selector and the normal BMW controls for smart cruise control, and this is the distance from the car in front. There's also voice control, and the voice control will allow you also to control Siri. And under this center armrest is a place to charge your phone wirelessly. Also wireless is the Apple CarPlay. Like all BMWs, there's the command system, which is called iDrive. You use this to select, or you can write on this scratch pad. There's an electric parking brake and the drive modes. Please note this drive mode doesn't control the suspension, just the acceleration and the steering. The centre stack's quite clearly laid out. The fully automatic dual zone climate control with a sync function, and BMW's 8 single touch buttons. You can program anything you like into these. They're also touch sensitive. Look, see that going across the top? There's other details too, like this aluminium trim. This comes in 3 colours: aluminium, matte grey or blue. And there's beautiful blue mood lighting that can be changed to one of several colours. There's a Harman Kardon 13 speaker sound system and fully automatic wipers and lights. The lights also have an auto high beam function. Pressing this bottom button puts the lights into high beam automatic mode. I forgot to mention the screen is a touchscreen and head-up display. There's an enhanced package for $2,900, and that includes the sunroof, metallic paintwork and wireless phone charging. There's also condition-based servicing, which means it's not just solely based on time. But that suspension is mighty hard. Oh, jeez. This car is just stunning. It has stunning performance, stunning handling. One thing I discovered, to my amazement, you'll notice that my usual companion up here, my Navman dash cam, is not working. And I discovered after a trip to BMW Zurvas that that's because there are two different sizes of power outlet. A small one and a big one. This is the small one, so although it looks like it fits in, it really doesn't. Oddly, there's a larger size in the back. We're doing 80 now, and those tyres are a little bit noisy. 20-inch wheels with low-profile tyres on this coarse chipped surface are a little bit noisy. There are a few other things too. Although this has lane watch, it doesn't have blind spot monitoring. The suspension is bespoke, and there's fancy diffs front and back to make sure that the car stays on the road. Fair enough. But I think it's odd that you can't have adaptive suspension with 20-inch wheels. There's a full complement of cup and bottle holders. But I found that putting my drinks container in the bottle holder and the door made it a little bit noisy. It rattles a bit. Driving an M-spec BMW is like driving a comfortable shoe, a sports shoe, strapped to a rocket. It is quite simply astounding. At 80, E-type. At 80, you really do notice every undulation in the road. It isn't unpleasant, but there's no doubting that this suspension is incredibly firm. Fuel consumption isn't too bad. We're doing 11.8 litres per 100 kilometres at the moment, and considering this is a performance engine, I don't think that's too bad. This engine begs to be taken by the scruff of the neck, and the suspension wants to be thrown into corners. And that's what you want to do. It is so beautiful in corners. The handling is so precise. Every slight movement of the steering wheel tells those front wheels exactly where you want to go. And the suspension doesn't complain. It just gets on with it. If there's one slight failing, it's that the turbos do take a little while to kick in. There is just the slightest hint of lag. There is, of course, launch control. I suppose you could use that at a set of lights if you were completely insane. But the problem with launch control on most cars, you only have a limited number of launch control events that you can actually perform. God, this is quiet. It's such a beautiful drive through the Royal National Park. It gently twists and turns, heading south out of Sydney. But the real joy is the fact that you don't have to go fast to have fun, not even in a car like this. Of course, faster is always funner, but you don't have to. What it is a car with many personalities. It's your shopping cart. It's the car you can take to the grocery store, pick up your things. You can go to the bottle-o, to the boozer. You can go to the beach. You can do what we did. We went out to visit some friends earlier in the week, out in the country, way out in the sticks. And this thing handled like it was on rails on that loose dirt road. There just isn't anything this car doesn't do well. That's it, BMW X2 M30i. One of the nicest cars I've ever driven, simply because it's not too much, not too little, it's just at the right Goldilocks amount of power versus handling. Suspension is a bit firm, but that's okay. If you buy this car, you buy it knowing the suspension's going to be firm. I rate this car at 9.5 out of 10 in its segment. As always, hit there to see the next film and there to subscribe.